coffee.
I know, right?
Literally, my brain is just going...
It's good, that coffee as well, actually.
It's great coffee.
Okay,
Okay,
here we go.
here we go this time.
What's up, team? Welcome back. I always do that. What's up?
Yeah, and I do this weird salute, like, hey, Sergeant.
Yeah, I think we've done this one too many times now. So today's video is trimester 3 of what to expect when you expect them. We have done 1 and 2. They will be linked in the description box if you would like to see them. I am firmly in trimester 3 at the moment, which is 28 weeks until pretty much delivery date. Leon is past it. He's been through it.
I'm so deep in trimester 4 right now. So I'm not going to give you any spoilers because we will talk about trimester 4 when JC is there and we've got the little bundles of joy probably
Boy or girl, we don't know.
Yeah, strapped to the front of us and we can go through that final instalment, which is a very exciting time. But I still very much remember trimester 3. So let's focus on that today.
So Rose and I are very deep in trimester 3. Last Thursday we were 37 weeks.
Fully cooked.
Yeah, cool fact. Once you're 37 weeks, if you were to have your baby at 37 weeks, which is probably earlier than most, your baby would still be classed not premature. It's fully cooked, let's say, for example.
I think it's in at that point where their lungs are fully developed as well.
I don't know enough. I think I've watched every single baby app on the planet with Rose. But everyone, you've all got that to look forward to.
The baby is now, the thing is though, so you get to the point of that week where one of the apps we were looking at, the baby's no longer baby anymore. It's like, oh, what fruit or vegetable is it?
Oh yeah, we've had that. We've been courgette. No, not courgette. We've never courgette.
We've been every type of cauliflower or lettuce you can imagine.
I've been most fruits. Definitely been some kind of fancy melon the other day.
Yeah, you're now a watermelon.
Yeah, something along those lines. Very interesting. What were you saying the other time, that it's not actually a 9-month pregnancy?
Yeah, the thing is, it's like I always felt like everyone always talks about pregnancy being like 9 months. It's like, no, we've all been lied to our whole life because first of all, your like conception date is not your conception date. When you actually go in to see the midwives, they turn around and go from your last menstrual cycle. They don't go from the day
that the deed happened.
When you docked.
D-Day.
D-Day. They actually go back depending on how many days it was. And for us, it was a couple of weeks. So I'm sort of sitting there going, okay, that's added on a couple of weeks. That doesn't make sense. And then you get to the point where you're at like 36, 37 weeks. You're like, right, where's the baby? Baby should be here. They're like, nah, full term. It's like, we're talking 40 to 42 weeks. I'm going, it's 10 months! It's not 9 months! It's 10 bloody months! You guys might know all the stuff about the science and how these babies built and all that kind of stuff, but I tell you what, midwives, you don't know maths.
Okay, so what Leon touched on there is actually a really interesting point. So, Rose and I know the day the baby was conceived exactly. And then you go to the doctors and they take it from your last period instead. But then they also take a measurement and they change it because of the size of the baby. But different people taking different measurements on the machine can change it by days or weeks. So our actual D-Day, due date to them, is slightly different. It's about 10 days different to what we believe it is. Cool thing though, is ours is a little further behind than what theirs is. So if we got to their 40 weeks and they say we want to be induced and we're saying we don't really want to, we can say, well, we know our day was actually a little bit earlier than that and push it back a little bit. Interesting fact as well, 85% of pregnancies come after their due date. It's very rare for people to go before their due date. So instead of saying, what we've started to do, instead of saying our baby is coming on February the 2nd, then basically if it doesn't come on February 2nd, instantly we're anxious. And as we'll talk about in a minute, if you start getting anxious and stressed, it's less likely for baby to want to come out in that environment. So we say that our baby is due anytime from February the 2nd. And that's a really good thing to do because then you haven't put a limit on it, you haven't put a time on it, and you don't get stressed. Because, for example, I was watching some hypnotherapy thing with Rose the other week, and the lady's brilliant. And she said it was a fact that in World War II, women held on to their babies for longer. So they went longer term with their babies because it's a stressful environment. And if you, like most things in life, if you take it back to olden times before we had all the kind of advancements in the modern world, if it was a stressful environment, the body's not going to go, do you know what, I think this is a really safe thing to birth my baby. So if we can stay relaxed and not put a date on the due date and feel like, oh God, we're late now, and put that pressure in it, we want to, ideally, if we can help it, not be induced. So we can be relaxed and go, look, baby's going to come anytime now, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really important point because that's, obviously we were due technically on the 12th of December, but me and Carly had this point, and I know everyone will have this ideal date depending on the time of the year because, you know, for us it was more about the Christmas and the New Year period and that worry of there's these old wives' tales that you're more likely to be induced over Christmas and all that kind of stuff, and they're more up for using different kind of help and everything like that to move things along because they're short-staffed and all that kind of stuff. Trust me, that is absolute crap. The midwives and everything, they are super patient and amazing regardless of the time of the year, but you will hear those kind of wives' tales around this time of the year. And we got to the point where we're like, well, it would be amazing if he or she, because at that point we didn't know, would come on the 1st of December, because then we can get into a nice little routine. We're hosting Christmas and it would be brilliant. And the problem that happens with that, even more so, just the same as John was saying, we weren't due until the 12th or from the 12th anyway. But then you're putting a date on it, and then every single day, and as it got into the last week of November, the angst started to rise a little bit, and we're like, well, God, we're getting really close. Really don't want to get to the 12th or beyond that because I don't want to be induced. I don't want to have that stress over Christmas. And you suddenly start to focus on the complete wrong side of what pregnancy and everything like that's all about. And we were focused on this date. Then we got to the 1st and it didn't happen. Got to the 2nd and Carly then started to feel like she was doing something wrong, or what, you know, should I be doing more? I should be drinking more raspberry tea. Should I be eating more pineapple? All these kind of random things that people say help bring on labour. But we ended up actually being 39 weeks plus 4, which is still, you know, that's like a beautiful time. That's a really, really like spot on date. But don't, if I could give any advice, don't have this point in the diary where you're like, I really want it to happen there. Have your ideas that you would love, but don't focus on it too much, because you then just start to get that angst and that worry starts to rise. And if it doesn't happen on that exact date, trust me, it will start to play on your mind and you'll worry about the long term afterwards. And we definitely did.
Before we go into what to expect real quickly, because I spoke to Rose, she's totally cool with me telling you guys this, what to expect in trimester 3. Like Leon, we've touched on there, so now's a good point to say. So we have adrenaline and we have oxytocin. Oxytocin is your friend. It's like a happy hormone that's released when you kiss, when you cuddle, when you talk. When you talk. All these kind of things. But it's actually baby will decide when it's ready to come out.
Yeah.
And having a kiss and a cuddle and that kind of stuff, oxytocin is really good, especially during labour. So if you think that when you're giving birth or when you're in labour, oxytocin's your friend. It's going to make you feel relaxed. It's going to make baby come out. It's going to reduce your perception of pain. All this kind of good stuff. Adrenaline is actually not going to be your friend at this point. What adrenaline will do is adrenaline diverts blood away from your essential organs, puts it into your extremities so you can run, fight, get away faster. We don't want to do that. When we're in labour, or when ladies are in labour, they want that blood to be around this area, because this is where all the muscles are doing all the work. They're changing. Imagine if you hold your arm up in the air and just kept squeezing your hand for maybe 2 days. If a woman's in labour for 2 days, that's going to be numb. That's going to be aching because the blood is away from that extremity. We want the blood in here so we can stay relaxed. So when, I know you guys did it, and one thing we're going to do, we're going to take fairy lights. We're going to take our own music, our own smells into the hospital to try and make it as kind of homely as you can. Because again, if you go back to olden times, if you were given, you'd find a sheltered place, you'd find a cave, or you're away from people. Not potentially in a hospital with a bunch of people you've never met before examining you with no clothes on. It's like me going now, do you know what, I'm going to go into the middle of Sainsbury's, I'm going to tell everyone to look at me after the supermarkets are available, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to do a poo. Like, I'm probably not going to do that. One, I'd get arrested, but two, I'd feel pretty uncomfortable.
It'd be a solid viral.
So I think that is the job of birth partners, to really try and make your partner feel as happy and as homely as possible, because the more oxytocin they have, the less adrenaline. Typically, research will show the easier their pregnancy is going to be, and hopefully the less chance of intervention.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I bet there's a lot less chance of intervention with that as well.
Yeah.
I think so. With trimester 3, for us, it's like we kind of got to that point where all the prep was done, because we, like, neither of us have known the sex of our baby, or we didn't until obviously she arrived.
You do now.
I do now. I bloody hope so. The amount of nappies have changed. I kind of missed the penis by now. But in that trimester 3, you know, we got to the point where the baby bag or the overnight bag and everything had all been packed. We knew the routine. We had Stephen looked after. We knew the person who was going to look after. We had the baby room sorted.
Visited the hospital.
Yeah, visited the hospital. We visited the MLBU. We knew
where to park.
Where to park, roughly how long it was going to take. All of the strategical stuff, all that stuff, the planning was completely out of the way. And we just got to this point where, like, Carly then started to put on more weight. Obviously, at that point, she got more uncomfortable. there's a little bit more of the feeling of over it, can't wait. It's a real...
Uncomfortable is the word for trimester 3.
Uncomfortable is like to the point where baby's growing very fast at that point. But then at the same time, it's been 6-7 months of just continual change and feeling like you get to a point where you know your body and then it completely changes. So like I got to the point where sometimes Carly would come in one day and she felt amazing at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. And by 11 o'clock, she felt like hell. And then 1 o'clock, she felt lightheaded. And then by 3 o'clock, she was amazing and felt like having a workout. And you're like, I wasn't even feeling that and I didn't really know how to deal with it.
Giving you whiplash.
Yeah, it's just like that trimester 3 is, it's amazing because there's so many great things going on. But at the same time, like, you can forgive yourself for going, you know what, just get it out. I want to meet it. You know, there's a lot more of those kind of phrases being used, and I know it can sound quite ungrateful and all the rest of it.
But that's a good thing. It's a good thing because
you're ready to meet the little
You're ready
one,
to go. We were in House of Fraser the other day. Again, other shops were available.
And we were
come on, House of Fraser. The House of Fraser and we're walking through, and Rose look at these tiny dresses because she was tiny before that she had fitted in. She's looked at me and went, I've been pregnant for a really long time, haven't I? And I was like, yes, you have, darling. And you get to that, she's at that point now where she is ready to kind of get her body back. And she has got to the point now where she's starting to get a few stretch marks and stuff because she's only dinky. And obviously, there's a lot going on in there. And trimester 3, like, Rose has not had, I mean, other people have had worse pregnancies for sure. There was a lady at our antenatal, by the way, antenatal's amazing, who had hyperemesis. So she was like being sick 30 times a day, being in hospital. It was nuts. Rose has been sick every morning, bar collectively 7 days out of our whole pregnancy that she hasn't been sick for. The other day, actually, she threw up on the cat, which is quite fun. Luna decided to take a pill on our sofa, was not best pleased. Rose was eating her breakfast, Luna walked past, and it was just happened. It's one of those things, and puked all over the cat. So,
wow.
So she's been sick a lot, bless her. We've had bleeds, we've been into the hospital for common stuff like if you feel like your baby hasn't been moving much. And this is the thing that a lot of women will have. And then Rose is like, John, I don't think baby's been kicking as much as normal, and I'm starting to worry. And I was like, well, I'm sure it'll be fine. But she's like, I don't want it. It feels like it's my responsibility. I know my body, and if there is something wrong with baby, then that's on me. And I was like, it's not on you, but I get what you're saying. So let's make the call. And we've been in a few times for that, and the midwives are like, absolutely, that's what we're here for. If you think that that's an issue, come in and get checked for reduced movement. So you get strapped up to the machine, they listen to baby's heart rate. It's a little bit scary the first time, it's not so bad the second time. And then someone else took a measurement who wasn't our normal midwife. And they took a measurement, and our baby came out smaller than it should have been on the growth chart. So as soon as that happens, they're like, right, well now we've got to give you a scan. We weren't too worried because common sense would say a different person's taking your measurement. It's not exactly the most,
right?
Yeah, it's not exactly the most accurate thing in the world. So we went and have it, and everything was fine. So if you do feel like that happens, don't worry too much. You've got to get it checked. The midwives are amazing for that, but I don't think tape measure, especially with different persons taking it, is the most accurate. And let me just say, because I don't want to think that this is what I'm saying, the midwives are incredible. Like, I'm absolutely in love with them all. They're amazing. When Rose had been in there with sickness, so sick she was throwing up blood, they were stroking her hair, they were mopping her face. They are incredible, and they are there all the time. I just don't think that a tape measure, unless the same person's doing it every time in the same environment, is the most reliable. So
yeah, that's just common sense as us being coaches. You know, one of the things that when it comes to body fat measurements and stuff like that with clients, like we work with clients online at distance, and I wouldn't turn around and say to my clients or trust them in the nicest possible way to take their own body fat measurements. I would want to, I'm one of those people that I'm like, well, I want to measure those reference points every single time myself. If I can't physically do them, they're not a trackable metric. And it's exactly the same as I think when it comes to the little one. And it's like, not saying that every case is exactly the same, but me and John had exactly the same thing, whereby when me and Carly went in one day, we saw a different midwife. They measured her a little bit too big, and then the next time we went in 2 weeks later, they measured static growth, so it was exactly the same. We had to go in, have an extra scan, have the CCG to make sure movement was the same, because what we found was that it was more like, obviously she's getting to that point where she's going to pop. Baby wasn't so much kicking around, it was more like shuffles, and we were like, that makes sense to us. But any form of reduced movement, don't be panicking and worried if you are sent straight to the hospital. It's just, the fact is the midwives have got your best and your baby's best interests at heart. It's just, I felt like personally that the midwives went to not like red alert, but like the sensors were a little bit more heightened in trimester 3. Everything in trimester 1 and 2 is quite trackable. It's quite nice. Everything seems to be moving along quite nicely. But you know, we're talking game time. Trimester 3 is when they start to get a little bit more serious about everything.
Everything, for me anyway, in your first baby, has been the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. We're due very, very soon, so I'm not leaving my city. I'm staying close to Rose. But there's been times when I've been in London on charity events, and I've had to come back because she's had a bleed, and it's been scary. And I think you probably second baby, you kind of get a bit more used to that, and you harden up a little bit. But there's lots of times, like Rose only has to go. And I'm like, what's up? What's up? She does overreact a lot of stuff. She's just done that because she spilled her cup of tea or something. That's her natural reaction. Whereas I'm a bit more like, damn it, I can't believe I just spilled my tea. So that's just how different people react to stuff. But it is getting close to it. And my biggest advice would be, try and get as much stuff in place as you can. Understand that how Leon, there's someone asked on a video yesterday on Instagram Live, have you been taking loads of tips from Leon? I was like, well, yes and no. Like on the simple stuff of like, oh, this is a great thing to do, or this, we got this sling, this is really good, I think this is the best one.
The practical things that are going to be consistent across the board.
The actual baby though, no. Because if my baby's going to be very different to Leon's, their sleep patterns are probably going to be completely different as well. And my life and Rose's life is very different to Leon's and Carly's. We have different preferences. So I don't think there's ever going to be a right or wrong thing, as long as you're looking after your baby, which you're going to be, right or wrong. I think it's what you and your partner want to do. Like when Leon and Carly went into labour, he messaged me, said, I think it's happening. I was like, all right, good luck. Let me know when baby's out, and then I'll speak to you afterwards. Because I knew that it's their thing together, something personal, and they need to focus on each other. They don't need the world and their brother messaging them. Leon told me when baby was out. I saw her a couple of days after, and I got a cuddle with her afterwards. And then for this first month, I really just left them to it, because they've got to find their feet. I've got the rest of my life to see little Jax and give her cuddles and all that stuff, which I fully intend on doing. But at this time, it was a case of, and everyone said to me, like my brother-in-law and my sister, like those first few days when you have baby, everyone wants to come and see baby, you want to see baby, but at the same time, really enjoy those moments. If you want to have people over, give them you can come over between 12 and 1, then you've got to piss off. Because mum will be tired, we've got feeding to do, all that kind of stuff.
Like, the thing is like I said, I don't really want to get too much into trimester 4, but like we, quite honestly, like it's a traumatic thing that both baby and mum go through. And obviously as birthing partner as well, you go through it as well, and you just get to the point where we just got
exhausted
into a bit of it. Just emotionally and physically exhausted, where you just want to close the door and enjoy it. And I think, like, just going back to trimester 3, like my advice would be, by the time you get to 32 weeks, say, because obviously baby could come at any point, but if you're at 32 weeks and you haven't got your birthing plan sorted, or you haven't got your strategy of how you're going to get everything sorted, anything that could cause any form of basic level stress, make sure that all of that is in place. You know what your birthing preferences are. You know what your job is as a guy or as a female if you're a birthing partner. Make sure you know what your role is at this point, because then you can just start to get excited and get ready for it. Because the only thing that I would say would have been like really worrying in hindsight is if I got to that point and there were so many things that happened in that birthing suite, which we can talk about in trimester 4, that I was like, wow, I never thought I was going to hear that or see that or want to do that. And they were scary enough, and they were very reactive times, and they kind of stressed me out to a basic level. But if I was also before that worrying about where the dog was and what I was going to do and what was in the bag and where it was going to be, they're things that can heighten the stress even more, and your partners will feel that. So I would just say, make sure that you prepared all of the basic things. And what I did is just made sure that essentially I was, in the nicest possible way, I was the barrier between the midwives and Carly. So everything that was going to happen in that room, whether when it come down to a medical intervention
and you know her preferences. Don't want epidural.
I knew what she wanted, but then obviously things can change. But I knew what she wanted and when she wanted it and how she wanted it, and everything else.
And that's what got you into this situation.
Yeah, exactly. And then anything else was just a conversation that she didn't need to have. She could worry about what she was doing, swimming around in the pool. I could have the conversation with the women, and then we could come in and we could all go, right, this is kind of how it's going to be. She's going to respond to me better than a complete stranger, however nice they are anyway. Yeah, and I think that's the key. It's just everything now. You should be starting to feel quite prepared, quite nervous.
I think you kind of feel prepared, but you also feel completely unprepared. Yeah. Like you have got stuff in place, but there's just things that we're not really.
It's angst.
We've never done it. Unknown, right? We've never done it before. So Next time we do one of these pregnancy videos, probably be the last one. Hopefully there will be a minion here and a minion there that you guys can meet. For those of you that are going through pregnancy, you and your partners, I hope you're enjoying these videos and they helped you, and good luck with everything. Those of you that are looking to have babies soon or trying, good luck to you. And those of you that haven't got babies yet, well, I hope you enjoyed the videos anyway.
So we will see. Clicked off after 30 seconds.
So we will see you guys soon. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a massive thumbs up. Any questions, like what hypnobirthing thing did you do? Leave them below and we'll get back to you. And have yourselves a wonderful week.
See you later.
Bye, guys.